My change is coming. My change is coming. I gotta believe and receive that my change is coming. My change is coming.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Empowered Network. We are so glad you guys chose to join us today. Listen, guys, we're doing something new, something a little different. We're trying something out, striving to be the change, something called Empowered Live. Again, my name is Mike Wallace, the founder, creator, visionary of the Empowered Network, in which our mission is to empower a world of leaders to strive to be the change that we want to see. I know normally you guys are used to seeing me by myself, but today I got the brothers of the Empowered Network. I got the brothers with us today. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around, introduce everybody, find out who they are and what they're about. So we're going to start off with my brother down here on my left. What's your name? Where are you from? What are you about?
My name is Daniel Britton. I'm from Hartford, Wisconsin. Moved to West Bend. That's where I met Mike. Currently attend Bethlehem Evangelical Lutheran Church with my wife. What I'm about singing. I like making music with Mike. Want to learn how to play some instruments and grow my talents and share it with the world. So that's what I'm about.
Nice to officially meet you, Dan.
Yeah, me too.
My brother here, who are you? What are you about?
Well, my name is Emmanuel Wallace. I am Michael Wallace's younger brother. I am from West Bend, Wisconsin as well, but who I am, what I'm about is making a difference and seeing a change in other people's lives. I'm a publisher, so I like to see people's dreams come forth in words, whether it's vocal or on paper. So I think that the change is within the heart, and that's where it comes on the page.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Before we go any further, speak to that publishing though. You just said I publish. What do you publish? Come on, don't be afraid. Come on, tell the truth, shame the devil. Tell the truth, shame the devil.
All right, well, I publish...
He has a publishing company. Come on.
Oh, Dream Publications.
Thank you.
That's what it's called. I'm the owner, founder of Dream Publications. It's a up-and-coming company where we edit, publish, write, shadow write, ghost write. We do a whole bunch of things, but also we put together people's books so that they can get their message across, where if they feel incompetent, we can do it for them. So what my expertise specifically is sharing and telling a story, which I think is very important in today's times through testimony, through experience, and just life in general. So Dream Publications is all about chasing one dream, which is to be free.
All right, we're going to go all the way down to my right side. We got the original OG from literally the start of the Empowered Network when we were originally Empowerment Academy. Who do we have here?
Yeah, so I'm Afani Osude. I am from West Bend, in Wisconsin, and what I'm about, I go to Full Gospel Church. I serve on the ministry team there. And also, we launched a Jesus Project, which is just a launching of a worship movement where we're bringing people together to worship Jesus, and our mission is to share Jesus with everyone. So that's what I'm about.
Now, before we go any further, talk a little bit more about Jesus Project, the things you guys have accomplished within the last year. I mean, last year alone with the launch, it was amazing to see the impact it had within that region of Wisconsin in particular.
Yeah, so we started with last year. Actually started the genesis of actually started at the campus. Mike, we was just Bible study, and then we expanded it to start to do some worship nights. And we started with a city worship night, not knowing what God would do. And we had 2 last year, and they were powerful moves of God. The Holy Ghost moved, and people's lives were touched. And we're now working on our first EP this year, and in the works on that. So it's exciting time.
I'm excited.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm telling you now, when that EP drops, you need to hear it. It makes me want to get up and sing, and Lord knows. Why y'all laughing? That's not how you say the no. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be together on this.
It's good. No. We're excited.
But last but not least, we have the brother
Daniel Lewis.
preacher man. Y'all ain't come to have much.
I'm Daniel Lewis. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I go to God's House of Refuge, and just what I am about as a person and just a young man and growing into being a man for God. I'm all about spreading the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. For I'm a young man on a mission that somebody can hear the truth and have the opportunity to be set free, just like I was, because I needed that opportunity, and someone was bold enough to tell me the truth. So it's my job to go out and be that same, and that's just what I am about as a person.
Thank you. So that's amazing. So everyone said amazing things about what they are and what they're about. Like, we're all very diverse.
Yeah.
But one thing about us being diverse and different, it's amazing how we're not one dimensional.
Right.
And I want to kind of speak to the fact on, because we're not one dimensional, it's amazing how different parts of our story helped align to where we are today.
Yeah.
So the question I want to ask you guys right now is, at what moment was something you were doing before aligned to where you are now? So for example, me and Dan, we play basketball together.
Mm-hmm.
So what principles in basketball were you able to carry over to now your career, where you doing some major things in your career?
Right.
So be able to speak on those principles that you were able to carry over.
Going off that, like you said, playing on the same team, teamwork goes a long way. You can't do anything by yourself. You always need other people. You need God. You need help. It's gonna be a normal thing in daily life. I personally learned that, going through it and speaking personally from my wife. We recently went through some things, and I had a change of heart, and I was like, wow, she really helped me get through some things in my life, and it's like, well, yeah, I realized I can't do this by myself, and it's just things like that where it's like you have like a little light bulb goes off in your head, and it's like, oh,
True.
okay, yeah, let's do that.
And the consistency.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, not considering the torture coach made us run. Listen, our coach had us run 2 hours straight for something that was not our fault.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm going to confess right now. I said, I got a cramp. And I laid in the middle of the court. He said, boy, get up. I said, I got a cramp. He was like, boy, get up. You going to run. I said, no, I'm not. And I didn't.
She was hard on us for sure. That's for sure.
But I appreciate it because of that. Like I said, Dan has been able to literally branch out into something that I never heard of, and now is successful in that career. And slowly but surely, well, not slowly but fastly, but surely climb up the ladder through that consistency and hard work through basketball. The question I want to ask Emmanuel, I have specific questions for everybody, so don't think everybody's answering the same question.
Oh, snap.
So,
It's all good. I'm ready.
So my question for Emmanuel, as like I say, you're my blood brother.
Yes, yes.
So my question for you is, how were you able to, how do I want to word this? When it came down to your purpose, it's different from what our family lineage is. We come from a family of preachers, pastors, and preachers.
Right.
So stepping out in a completely different realm, how were you able to find confidence, comfort, and really faith in your purpose and your call? How were you able to find that, and how did you handle the adversity?
Well, that's a tough question. Because honestly, me personally, I don't think it's that much different. Because truth be told, ministry, preaching, those are all forms of helping people, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So to me, I just thought of it as, this is just another service. And as I've grown, it's become more of that. Before, it was like, this is just for me, Like I was thinking about traveling, doing things outside of the norm, because we don't really have a lot of people in our group that travel the world and want to do that kind of thing, because we scared of heights or water. So one of the two. But for me, I found confidence when I actually accepted it. Like before, I was afraid because it wasn't something that was one major in our room. We don't have a lot of authors in our room. Like people want to write books, but they don't do it because they're afraid. Or people don't want to speak about what their story is because, once again, they're afraid or don't think they'll be heard. And I used to struggle with that too. So finding confidence in my own voice through basketball, like you guys had go to, also helped me find that strength in it. And then faith came from just constant work, like every day, just sitting upstairs. Even if I didn't write anything, just sitting there and being in God's presence. That's what gave me faith in it.
Man, that's heavy. I wasn't expecting that. That's heavy, but
That's good.
it's just for me, like I said, just seeing this journey firsthand with everyone here it's amazing to me, understanding that young people, I'm not going to even just categorize, just young people in general that are focused, that are ambitious for God and ambitious for knowing and understanding that, I have an assignment. Like I have something that I can offer to help, and the fact that you guys are pursuing that is just. I'm honored to be in the room. Like I'm honored. Like I said, mark this down. Mark this day down. Whatever day it is, mark it down. That from 5 years from now, it's gonna be a different conversation. I promise you.
Oh, for sure.
5 years from now. So my question for Dan, my question for you is, I was thinking about it, and I was gonna ask you the simple question. Oh, what Bible character do you relate to the most? That's an easy question. But I guess my question for you is, has your journey been like? Being young and on fire for God, how has that impacted your social life, your work life, and school life? So how have you been able to find the balance in all of that? I know you're the youngest in the crew, and I know that now with the way culture is today, everything is being pushed. All type of agendas are being pushed, and you have to face it on a day-to-day basis where they're telling you what you're saying is wrong. Is like, no, bro, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. So how have you been able to maintain and find balance?
Well, for me personally, the first thing I would say for me personally is just knowing who you are and what you stand on. Because as soon as I would say as soon as being on the spiritual side, the first thing that will be questioned is your character, your integrity, and what you believe in. And continuing through your spiritual life, even to the point that we are not at, continuously you will be questioned on that. And knowing who you are, you will know not to even be worried about certain things, and like the Bible say, count it all joy.
Count it all joy. Yeah.
And knowing who you are and what you stand for, those same things that bother you and hurt you, you laugh at. Because I got talked about, laughed at. Like I could walk in a room and I become the butt of a joke, and I be minding my own business.
You wear your suits to school?
Huh?
You wear your suits to school?
I went to Washington.
No, I said, did you wear your suits to school?
Oh no,
that's what I said.
Now, if I wore suits to school, it'd be on 10. Because it was this one. Every time you see, oh, what's going on, Pastor Daniel, Pastor Lewis,
Pastor Dan.
I'm like, you got jokes? He's like, no.
That's your new nickname alert, PD.
He's like, no, I'm dead serious.
That's amazing, though.
But just that same thing that would bother me and actually hurt me, I was able to laugh at it and enjoy it, because it's like, if you have to say something to me, that means I'm doing my job as representing Christ.
Right.
Amen. I agree.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, wow. I mean, just as a general conversation started, in general, what you're saying is just the fact of the matter that standing on what you believe. And I know, again, we're in a time in which social media, everything is challenged. So it's like now more than ever, like the Bible speaks on that everybody has access to knowledge. It's just like now more than ever, like you got to know that this is what I stand for. I could tell Dan all day that, oh, I don't stand for the color blue. I'm against the color blue. And then Dan's like, what's wrong with blue? Well, so it's just understanding that, like, that matters a lot. Wow, these are some y'all answering my questions today.
The pressure's on.
The pressure's on me. So my question for Ifani is, Ifani, you recently stepped into something major. It's not little. It's a major task. My question for you is, how have you been able to apply the principles within writing your music, within being consistent in production? Like, how have you been able to apply everything you've learned through the years? With all, like, you have more experience than all of us here, and to be honest, I think it's amazing. I kind of know where you're going with this, but I think it's amazing watching firsthand. You apply those principles and you're writing your music. You just don't write because you can write. Like, before you write, you pray, you ask God, okay, where do you want me to go? What scripture do you want to base this off? So speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So a lot of it just comes with consistency. I before I even started writing or had the burden to start Jesus Project, it started from just being consistent, having a heart for God, and then second, having a heart for people, and that consistency, like, birthing my love for Jesus and my love to see people achieve and become like what God wants them to be, and be selfless in sharing what I have to them, no matter what. That being consistent with that fuels the direction and how we go about, like, song production, music. I see it in the same light that I heard a story a friend told me, and I'll share this that kind of put it to perspective with me. He launched a church in Detroit, in Detroit, Michigan area, and his team put together a song, and they released it in that area. And one individual heard this song and said, "Hey man, this is an awesome song about Jesus. I want to know where this church is," and came to the church and got saved.
Wow.
Brought his whole family to God just after listening to that song. And so he told me that, and that birthed something if that can happen to one person, what if I do that here? And that's really started having a burden, a hunger to see people come to God in no matter different way, through writing a book, through just living out your life in a consistent way, through just learning how teamwork, all this plays a role, but you having to go out and do it is a different thing.
Yeah.
It's different. And so it's constantly being in my own and being encouraged of the Lord, but then having people around me, such as you guys, all you guys here, that I can go to. That's hey, how's this going? How's this going? Because that positive peer pressure fuels as well, where people are pushing you in the right direction. So many times we talk about people pushing in the wrong direction, but the positive peer pressure of I know I got my guys behind me that are going on fire for God, and I see them doing good. So I want to contribute along to the kingdom as well. So that answers your question.
It did. It definitely did.
Kingdom-minded.
Kingdom-minded. Yes. Yes. I mean, kingdom-minded. Whew. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. So sadly, we're coming to a close in this segment of our first Empower Live. But before we go any further, I want to challenge you. Yes, I want to challenge you. I want everybody to answer this question. I'll answer too.
Yeah, as you should. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let them ask me a question, but he giving the look. He want to ask me a question. you want to ask me a question?
You got it.
I ain't got that.
Yeah, you ain't got no questions for me.
I'm waiting.
Nah, I just want to hear this question. Go ahead.
You ain't got no questions for me. You going once? You going twice? Y'all sure?
All right, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. So I think the viewing public wants to know. They all want to know this.
Uh-huh.
How did Empower Network start?
Yeah, was it like a fly on the wall? And you was just you're like, I'm gonna do that. Or was it you were sleeping and you had a dream? It's like, oh.
Actually, it was kind of like that. So, Empowered Network started when I first had moved back to Wisconsin. When I moved back to Wisconsin, I was in a very dark space. I felt as if I was a failure. I felt as if what I had went out to accomplish down south did not happen. So I felt as if I failed my family. I failed my friends. I failed everyone. Like, I did accomplish something. I got salvation. I got saved. That was something. But in my mind, I was like, dang. So it was just one night, I was literally sitting there, and I began to hear God speak the word empowered, empowered, empowered. And I'm like, huh? Okay, all right, whatever. That night, I had a dream about the empowered. So it initially started off as Empowerment Academy in my mama's basement. Literally, it started off in my mother's basement. We started off doing Zoom sessions every week, and it grew rapidly. It went from 2 people to 12 to 75 to 100 on Zoom every week. And things were going well, but then we had a situation happen to where we had to stop doing the Zooms. We had to transition to where we are now. But I thank God for the Empowered Network, because it's amazing to see a community of people from different spaces and places in different walks of life coming together for a common goal of being the change they want to see. What I want to see happen is different from you, but collectively we all know that there's something we want to change, and what we bring to the table can cause that change. So that's kind of how it started, literally. And I thank God, because where we are now, again, within the next 5 years, we're gonna be elevated. So I thank God for that. And my question for you guys, and I'll answer this first, is that what is something you would tell yourself 5 years ago to empower you? So for me, I would empower myself by telling you that, number one, Mike, you are gifted, you are talented, you are anointed. There's no reason to be ashamed of that. You are loved. It's okay to love yourself. You are a handsome man. I'm being serious. Like that was a major insecurity of mine. Like that was a major insecurity of mine. Like I was like, dang, I'm ugly. Especially my freshman year of college when I was trying to come out here. Woo!
That was a learning curve. That was a learning curve.
No, I'm talking about my fade was all like, and then playing basketball on top of that. I was like, why don't no girls want to talk to you, bro? Because your fade messed up.
That's when you wear do-rag.
But those are things that I would tell myself 5 years ago, because truth be told, had I known this 5 years ago, we probably would be in a different position now. But again, everything, God's will is God's will. God's will is perfect.
Yeah.
But that's something that I would tell Mike 5 years ago. Dan, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago?
Something I tell myself 5 years ago. Dang, that was a long time ago. Now I think about it. That's like right when I met you.
We met, yeah.
I would say big dreams, take big steps. Don't be afraid to do what you have in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Reason I say that is because some of the choices I made in my life, I've downsized because I say, oh, my dream's too big. How am I supposed to get there? And I really wish I would have done that, because looking back at now, I got to that place I wanted to get, but it took me a little longer because I downsized, and I was like, well, I don't think I can get there just yet. So looking back, I would say if I would have just took that big step out of faith, God, I feel like God really would have made a way for me, because in my head I'm thinking, well, if I'm supposed to be there, why can't I be there? You know, so taking that step of faith, and I could relate this to anybody really, taking that step of faith really is important, because if God really wants you to get there, he'll get you there.
I agree.
Right.
But there's something you said that in particular that we both did 5 years ago when we met. We settled.
Yeah.
We settled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's another thing that, like, you don't have to settle.
No.
My grandpa always says this in his message. He said, why settle for less when you can have heaven's best? Every time he preached, when he ready to do the altar call, he he get his little soft voice. Don't make me laugh, y'all. Why settle for less when you can have heaven's best?
The finger pointing and everything.
The finger pointing and everything.
Yeah, jazz voice.
Yes. And the keyboard player, we played the spooky chords. But man, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago? You still in high school 5 years ago. Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
Shoot. 5 years ago?
You're a sophomore.
5 years ago, I would have told myself, you can't control time, but you can control how you use it and how you perceive it. And then another thing, because in high school, I was that guy, the mysterious guy that hid in the shadows. So I would say, not like that.
That was
Clarity.
Yeah, I was just a guy that didn't talk. I had like 2 friends at all times. That was it. Only 2 people I talked to for real. Nobody knew anything about me. But no, so I would say, don't hide when you know you have a light within you to show. Like, and I never really talked about my dreams to certain people, to people in general. But one of the things I've found is that as I've opened up, it began to encourage other people, so that you can be an influence even though you might not think you are.
Yeah.
And there's always an opportunity within patience.
What? 5 years ago, I think.
You be in middle school.
Yeah, that's still middle school days. But
Woo! We are. I'm not disclosing my age, but
you know, like what I would tell myself is that you're more than enough. You stick out because you're meant to, and you're not meant to fit in. Because such an issue I had was just feeling inadequate because I'm not like this person, or I can't do that. And then also I always dealt with comparisons. And I would never be the one to make them. Somebody will always compare me to them or somebody else, and it's like, I'm not them, but I'm me. And it caused me to be in a dark place of, maybe if I'm like that, then I can feel better or be higher or elevate to say. But I would just tell myself that you're more than enough, and you don't need to be like anybody else. You weren't meant to be them, because when you were born, you were named Daniel, so you're called to be Daniel. Be yourself, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. Yeah. And that's just what I would tell myself.
What did Jeremiah say? Be yourself. Oh, you don't like Jeremiah. Never mind.
I don't know who that is.
That's a good song. Ifani.
Yeah.
No, wait. psalmist, Ifani. Yeah.
No, so what I would tell myself, it'd be keep going. Many times you feel like you're the only one that's trying to do, and some of us experience this, and many people out there experience this. There's these mountaintops and there are these valleys, but so often we look for the mountain, but if you really go look at the mountain, there's no life up there. Where's the life?
All the way at the bottom.
Down in the valley.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would tell myself, that many times you're looking for the mountaintop experience, but your life and your sustenance is down in the valley. So keep going.
That's
That's what I would tell myself.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard, because every time they're like, go for the mountaintop.
Right.
Like, they'll climb into it. Like, they literally, but
Yeah.
I never thought about it. Then God's got the valleys too.
Yep, he's got the hills and he's
God
got the
the valleys.
valleys.
They said, "Ooh, my help coming from."
So just keep going. That's what I would tell myself. Through every season, highs and lows. Continue to keep your target and your mind focused on what the main thing is. Jesus, come on now.
Come on,
You're right.
That's amazing. Wow. I ain't gonna lie. Like, for our first one, I'm very impressed and I'm excited to see. I'm not gonna say Wisconsin, United States. Be on the lookout for these 4 striving men. I'm not even say young men, y'all men. These 4 striving men. We got Daniel Britton, Emmanuel Wallace, Daniel Lewis, Ifani Usude. Yeah, I said it right this time.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
But really, be on the lookout. I thank you guys for joining us for our first ever
Honored to be here.
Empowered Live segment. Just know that next time you hear, the questions are going to be harder. I want to make you sweat.
There ain't no
Yeah.
question
Alright
too
now.
hard for
What did
Jesus.
James Brown say? A cold sweat. I want to make you sweat. But again, we thank you guys for joining us. Listen, if there's anything I can tell you to do, I want you to continue to strive to be the change that you want to see. Thank you for
Are
joining us.
you ready? Oh, it's here right now. Are you ready? I gotta believe and receive that my change